All right, so we're live. Mitch and I are going to be talking about some Black Friday, Cyber Monday prep that you can do as a direct-to-consumer e-commerce business owner. So, as a little bit of background, you don't know who we are. We focus on scaling e-commerce brands. My company, MediaJet, has been around for about 6 years. I'm a prior e-commerce founder before that. So we really embody what it takes to scale DTC, e-com, in all fronts. So at our agency, we specialize not only on the paid side, but also on the full funnel experience from retention, like email, SMS, but also on web optimization, like CRO or fresh websites or landing pages. So that being said, I want to focus on the paid side of things. Mitch and I are going to be talking about what you can do as a e-commerce store to really prep for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I'm going to kind of take the lead here and ask Mitch a lot of questions. Mitch at my agency is the VP of strategy. So he works closely with about 30 accounts and leads everything from offer planning to changes needed to be made for the KPIs to make sense within the account. So that being said, Mitch, I'm going to kind of kick it off with maybe start with some like do nots, like maybe start with some like errors that you see frequently, especially heading into like an offer season, or I guess more of a holiday season. Like what are some don'ts? Like what are some things that you see go wrong all the time that you think people can have on their radar just to make sure they don't do that?
Sure, of course. Well, thank you, Alan, for the introduction. One of the main errors that I see on a day-to-day basis is brands that kind of shoot from the hip during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, meaning they don't test their offers prior to the actual event. It's okay to have good offers that you think might be a match for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but the reality is that it's just so competitive during that space, and there's so many different people that are advertising all of these site-wide sales, and there's a lot of noise that it's hard to really break through, and you might not know necessarily what the best offer is for your particular audience. So what we like to do is prior to this entire season, we'll grab random samples of our email list. We'll control for open rate by using the exact same subject and preview, and we'll put in different flash sale offers, and we'll test it to a random sample of people. And then from that, maybe you have like 5 to 10 different offers. You'll be able to determine out of your core audience which offer has the best conversion rate, has the most engagement, has the highest click-through rate. You'll be able to determine, okay, like we might think that a 30% off is going to be the most successful, but in reality, it's a gift with purchase, or it's a buy one get one, or it's a gift card. You kind of have to flesh out all your offers prior to it, so you know that you're walking into the season with your best foot forward. So I would say one of the biggest errors I see are brands that kind of shoot from the hip during this period and just think that having a simple percentage off is the best way to go about things when it might not be for your particular brand.
Yeah, I guess how do you like distinguish a good offer from not? So I guess if you like, let's just say hypothetically you have a client who's ran 4 or 5 offers throughout the year, how would you choose the offer that's right for this period? And are you like rotating too, or are you holding the same offer throughout all of Q4?
I think it really depends on your industry as well as like the size of your business, what your margins are, what your AOV goal is, because you're going to tweak your strategy depending on that. So you have to take into consideration the entire landscape, see how many loyal customers you have, like what your goal is from the season. Like you have to identify that from the beginning. Do you want to have a velocity of customers or do you want to aim for a higher AOV? So I think that's the first step in determining what your Black Friday, Cyber Monday offer is. And then again, testing it out beforehand and seeing like what is the best engagement, what's going to give you the best conversion rate for this season.
Yeah, and I think at our agency, a lot of the times the objective is customer acquisition, like to the most high, to the highest velocity possible. Um, Now you may be wondering why. That's because during like this increased shopping period, you can completely like embrace the just like the craziness going on and rapidly grow your customer base, but also your data like within the platform. as well as within like your Shopify, right? So, if you have a brand with a little bit of a higher lifetime value, you're going to capitalize on that throughout the rest of the year. And if you're able to really extract as much revenue as possible through Black Friday, Cyber Monday, honestly, it extends into the holiday season as well, like December, etc. You're able to capture as many customers as possible, and then throughout the rest of the year, you're extracting revenue from all those customers acquired, right? So I think a lot of brands take the wrong approach. Maybe they're thinking about profitability first, when I guess in our eyes, you're kind of there to convert as many customers as possible, convert as many emails as possible, and season your pixel and everything to the highest of its ability and at a rapid rate. So then you have a good 2025 foundation within your e-commerce brand. So what do you think?
Yeah, I would say, like, again, it all comes down to the 5 Ps of success. So proper planning prevents poor performance. And you really want to go into the season knowing exactly what your goal is. Like, that's what we want to do. We don't want to shoot from the hip. We don't want to just put a discount on just to put a discount on. Like, we want to identify what's the most important. In a lot of cases, it is going to be new customer velocity, just because you want to build up your CRM and then maximize revenue throughout the early months of the next year. But for the most part, yeah, you just want to make sure you're structured, make sure you have a solid plan in place, and then you may pivot. You might have a Black Friday offer, and then you might test out a Cyber Monday offer. They don't have to be the same offer. And then that's another way you can go to your email list and say, okay, our Black Friday sale is live. And then Monday comes around. Get them to go back to your website, keep the Black Friday offer still live if it's working, and then you have a brand new offer for new customers and old customers to take a look and potentially maximize even more revenue out of them. So again, I would just say, when it comes to Black Friday, if you're a new brand, you really want to plan out beforehand. You want to do a lot of list building, and email is going to be one of your best friends to identify what's going to work the best with your particular audience. Because again, you have to do a tailored approach for every brand. So you just really want to make sure that your offer is resonating with your audience, and you want to have a couple different offers in the back pocket. If your Black Friday offer isn't working the way that you'd planned, okay, we have another one that we can test out, and then we can go with that. And then don't be afraid of extending your sale. It's very common to do Black Friday, Cyber Monday extended sale and extend that into your holiday sale, and then you do the end of the year sale and New Year sale, and just kind of continue to reskin this particular offer. If you find something that works with your audience, don't shut it off just because the quote unquote season has ended. Keep going with it. And you can put exclusions on from a paid advertising perspective, so you're always reaching new customers. You're not exhausting this offer with people that have already seen it. You're going after new people with something that's proven. So just another piece of advice that I would give to brands that are starting out, maybe brands that haven't done a Black Friday, Cyber Monday before. Again, you just want to really make sure you're prepped, prepared, and you have expectations of what you want, and you adhere to those goals. Another piece of advice is, you have to play into FOMO to an extent. You have to get under to like the underlying emotional reasons of why someone would buy your product. Phrases like 100 left or limited available, stuff like that is really going to get them to cross over that line and finally purchase. So that's another thing that I would encourage you to do. If you're, for example, doing a early opt-in sale, if you have 100 of these items, truly have 100 of them and tell them that they're running out. And there's not going to be another opportunity for them to purchase this deal, because you might find that a lot of people are going to get your Black Friday offer, your Cyber Monday offer, and they're not going to buy it immediately. So you really want to be tough on, okay, this sale is ending. Like, you have to capitalize on it now. So that's another piece of advice that I would give to brands that are just starting out with their Black Friday, Cyber Monday strategy.
Yeah. Now I want to talk like timeline a little bit, so that people listening in October know when to deploy, but also what to expect with these deployments. So, hypothetically, we're end of October. What time do you think is the right time to start to announce your offers? And then talk to me a little bit about what platforms to start to announce first, and how you would kind of handle that. I know you said if your offer is performing, keep it live and roll it into Cyber Monday, the new year. And we've had clients who even run it year round and turn it into an evergreen offer after that. So I guess can it be too early to start, or are we now in the right time? I guess just talk a little bit about that.
No, there's no real answer to like when you should start or when you should shut it off. I would say By the end of October, early November, I would start your like quote unquote VIP offer, your early opt-in offer. I would have that pop up live on your site. I'd have it connected to an email flow that gives them updates, but also gives them additional value. So for example, they may sign on for your early opt-in offer and they get what's promised, which could be early access, but give them additional add-ons, because the more add-ons you can give your customers during this period, that's going to turn them from simple Black Friday, Cyber Monday shoppers who are just looking to a deal to loyal brand customers who are going to come back and buy again and again. The more that you give them. So for example, I mean, early access to a sale, right? Okay, that's why they leave their email. Perfect. But then you'll enter them in automatically to a giveaway or some sort of contest that gives them even more value than what they had initially signed on for. That's the type of strategy that's going to get people to come back and buy again and again. So back to the initial question, I would start up your early access within the next week or so. I would collect emails, and then I would say halfway through the month of November, if it makes sense for your business, I would turn your sale on live just to maximize the amount of revenue that you're getting from this season. I wouldn't do your offer just for Black Friday. I wouldn't start it on the 29th for this year. Again, I would start it as early as you possibly can. So that might be the 15th, that might be the 14th, the 13th of November. And then I would keep it for the first full week of December at a minimum. And that would be that extended sale verbiage. And then again, extending it out as needed. And you may find that that might be your new evergreen cold acquisition offer for all customers going forward.
Okay. Now, I want to talk a little bit about like what platforms should be priority during this time. So, hypothetical scenario, for a brand spending, I don't know, let's say they're around the 10 grand in ad spend mark, where should their priority be? And I guess in what order would you kind of tackle each one of those platforms?
So I would say your disrupting channels are going to be your most important for this, especially like we mentioned, if your goal is you want velocity of new customers, that's going to be TikTok and Meta, because those are your disruptors. Like the way that I always like to explain this to our clients is that Meta and TikTok are like radio advertising. You're disrupting people. They're on that platform to look at their friends, look at, news, potentially like memes. Like that's what they're on those platforms to consume. And then they're seeing your ad in between that. So that's a disruptor. It's like you're driving to work, you're on the radio, you're listening to the radio for music, and then all of a sudden you're getting hit with an ad. You might not immediately buy it, but that's your disruptive platform. And then Google is more of an intent-based platform. That's like the phone book. So you hear an ad on Meta or TikTok, and then you look in the phone book on Google, and then that's where you convert. So I would say if you're going after new customers, and you want to get your brand in as many new people as possible, I would prioritize your TikTok, your Meta, your cold acquisition channels, whichever they may be for your particular brand. So that's what I would do. And then Google, I would set up a branded campaign as well as Performance Max, and just maximize prospecting through Performance Max as much as you can, and then have that branded campaign to come in there and collect all purchasers who may be kind of scrambling around trying to find you. But again, I would also pay a lot of importance towards email, because a lot of this is going to exist through email. All of your customers want to be notified as soon as your sale goes live. So I'd also really pay attention to that. But again, I would prioritize Meta and TikTok and Performance Max on Google. I would make sure that you have a good branded campaign to collect conversions. And I would put a lot of importance on email. I would announce the sale. I would announce when the sale is ending. I would do a final hours announcement sale. I would squeeze as much revenue out of that list as possible. So it's not more about what is the most important platform. It's about, okay, how do we look at this entire landscape and use every platform for its real intent? So again, just consider Meta and TikTok, disruptors, Google, more of a phone book intent-based. So just keep that in mind when you're forming your plan, and then really hit email and SMS as hard as you can.
All right, that sounds good. Well, I think we can wrap it up for today. We like receiving questions through LinkedIn and through the comments. So if you guys have any suggestions on future topics that we can touch on, these episodes are going to consist of year-round, I guess, more of like a year-round state of the e-commerce industry as we're moving through Q4 and then also next year, and what strategies we're deploying as an agency to all of our clients to yield the highest revenue and profitability possible. So yeah, leave those comments. And if not, then we'll catch you guys in the next episode. We're hosting a webinar tomorrow with us versus them agency, and we're going to be touching on specific meta ads, strategies that we're going to be deploying as an agency. So if you haven't already, make sure to check that out on LinkedIn under MediaJet Marketing, and we'll see you there. So thank you. Bye.
Bye.